Welcome to Okaloosa Today, local news and information. Connecting the communities of Footwall Beach, Destin, and Okaloosa County.
Welcome to Okaloosa Today on Cox. I'm Doug Rayner with the City of Destin, and Okaloosa Today is your monthly look at the City of Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Okaloosa County. Today's segment of the City of Destin starts right now with Community Development Director Ken Gallander and Public Services Director David Campbell. Guys, thanks for being here today. We have some really interesting things to talk about. David, this is your first time on the show, so we want to welcome you here.
Thank you.
And just kind of get right into the information of the show today. Is really on infrastructure and specifically a couple of projects that have been, or one project that's been going on, one that's coming up, and then Ken has some interesting news to tell us about some future planning. But
right.
Let's kind of talk about the age of our infrastructure. David, you're a public services director. You see this every day. You manage our roads and the good and the bad. So just kind of give us a synopsis of what our infrastructure looks like in Destin.
Well, I think Destin is got some age to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before we became a city, there were roads that were constructed, subdivisions that were constructed in what is now the city limits, and we inherited those roads from the county. And since then, they've experienced a lot of wear and tear. We have a system that our deputy public services director uses to rank the condition of the roadways. So we actually have a ranking of all the roadways in the city, and each year we make a recommendation to the city manager at budget time.
Mm-hmm.
We give him not only the condition of the roadway but the projected costs. And what typically happens is that we'll receive a certain amount of money for maintenance. That would include fixing sidewalks, that would include fixing potholes, doing some overlays. That's the smaller portion of the budget. And then we typically have a capital improvement project, one larger project that City Council decides to spend the tax dollars on, the larger tax dollars from some of the projects, that impact fees that we have, and from gas tax.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, the project that was chosen was Kelly Street reconstruction.
Right, and that's a huge project. And as you mentioned, the age of our infrastructure. Ken, this falls in line with what we're going to do to move our city forward. David mentioned the age of the city and the roads and things that we inherited, but there's a plan that even Kelly Street falls into that progresses us into a pedestrian-friendly direction.
Right. Community Development Department concentrates a lot on where is the city going to go, the planning division, and we have been able to establish over the last several years are some plans that help improve our mobility within our city, and not just concentrating on vehicles, but how people walk, how they bike, and then future possibilities for improved transit around our city. But the mobility and moving of people within our city is a strategic goal of our city council, so we're incumbent upon of trying to achieve that and looking for the best, safest plan to move those people, working a lot with public services about the best ways to do that, working with FDOT on some of their design standards and whatnot. But you know, just having improved mobility within our city based on the plans. We have our Master Pathways Plan, which looks at all of our sidewalk networks, looks at our trail system, and looks at our bike trail component. So we have a plan in place. It's just, as David said, putting that within our capital improvement projects to see how we can improve upon those and ensure those are in the design that David's department works on to make sure they're implemented.
Right. You two, your departments work closely. I know you work closely together as directors to make sure that the vision and the ideas that Ken talked about and the need that the city has, the immediate need and the future need is met with the roadway projects and things like that. Kelly Street we had a phase 1 that's been completed. Now we're in phase 2, which is a large-scale project in the heart of the city that affects a lot of our locals. It's not really on the tourist route, but it's something that our locals really rely on. It runs past this middle or elementary school and east-west through our town. So, David, let's kind of explain where we are with that project right now, the phase 2 part, and what we're doing there.
Okay. Kelly Street is considered a minor collector in the city. And what that simply means is that the multiple neighborhoods that are in the city are connected to this one roadway, which is integrated into the larger grid system of the city of Destin.
That makes it sound more important than I even say. You did it better than I did. It's a big deal, right?
It's a big deal. It really is. And you mentioned that the school is right there in the location. Now, this is actually phase 3 of the project. Phase 1 was the widening and adding of bike lanes to the roadway from Beach to Benning in front of the elementary school and improving some sidewalks there. Phase 2 was from Main Street to Beach, and what we did there, we added bicycle lanes on the pavement and added 2 10-foot sidewalks. It might have been 8-foot sidewalks, Ken.
I believe they are.
Right,
yes, correct.
on each side of the roadway, which leads to the school.
Right.
And this is the final phase. This is a little bit more unique because it has more of a residential feel to it than the other areas did. The houses are really close together and the houses are really close to the roadway. So in order to be consistent with the multimodal element of our city's plan, we had to add bicycle lanes and a wide pathway, a wide concrete pathway. So the pathway in this plan, it goes from Benning to Calhoun Street, which completes that east-west corridor with the sidewalk. And the bicycle lanes, they run from Benning to Stallman, I believe. And what we've done is and what we plan to do, we're going to put the bicycle lanes on either side and narrow the driving lanes to help slow traffic down because it is a straightaway.
Right.
And a lot of the residents there have asked that, what can we do to help calm traffic? So that's one of the strategies that we use.
Sure, and traffic calming is something I hear Ken talk about often, and talk about the importance of traffic calming and just the streetscape that they're adding into Kelly Street.
Right, and that's a component of multimodal, or creating these different modes or options for the citizens or whoever's using the infrastructure. And that's a key component, is you're wanting to create a safe environment for all those different modes. Whether you're walking, you're feeling comfortable walking on those wider sidewalks. You're in an atmosphere of makes you want to be out and walking. And then the cars know that you're in some place special. You need to slow down. You're in a residential neighborhood. So it just adds those design features that are incorporated in our plan that are being implemented. And this is an excellent example of all those things coming together. You have tweaks, as David said. You have different contexts within. This is more of a neighborhood context of the Kelly Street, so you design it just a little bit different, but ensuring that there's connectivity through the whole collector road. The minor collector is just a key component, that it's all working together, and that's the ultimate desire, is that you have all that connectivity throughout your community, that you can move people efficiently and safely.
And right, that's exactly right, and we're starting to see some of that take shape right now because the sidewalks were almost complete, I think. We have some really nice photos that show what's going on out there for our viewers to see. But David, tell us kind of in a nutshell what is actually being done to that road and that pathway.
Okay, the road in its current condition, previous condition before we started construction, was a 24-foot wide roadway, which included concrete ribbon curb on either side. What we're doing is removing that concrete ribbon curb. We're adding pavement width to this roadway to make it 26 feet, It'd be 30 feet wide, including the ribbon curb. We're putting new ribbon curb. So what you'll have when you finish and you stripe the lanes, you're going to have two 10-foot wide driving lanes and two 4 feet wide bicycle lanes on the paved area. We're removing the 5-foot sidewalk on the south side of the road. We're replacing it with a 8-foot wide pedestrian pathway, concrete pedestrian pathway. We'll be reconstructing, and actually we've done most of the reconstruction of the intersection, the 5-way intersection at Stallman. That had some safety concerns with sight distance. So we slightly changed the alignment of the roadway to be able, when you come to that intersection, you can see vehicles coming in each direction. So we had added a safety element to that. The pavement was in extremely bad shape at that intersection. We replaced the entire pavement section, which included the subbase, the base, and then the final pavement section. We're also doing drainage improvements throughout the entire project. We're adding swales throughout the project, stormwater swales, and we're adding some stormwater piping to collect the stormwater and so we can control it and bring it back to holding areas.
And that stormwater is important. The last 12 months we've seen a lot of rain around here, some of it abnormal and definitely concentrated in small time frames. We had a good bit of issue in that 5 points intersection that you mentioned for stormwater. So it's good to see that we're progressing, we're moving forward in any way we can. We're actually doing some broader things hopefully soon with the stormwater grant that we recently received. We'll talk more about that at another time, but Ken, explain just how important the stormwater aspect of our projects are.
Well, whenever you see events like we've had over this previous year, like you said, is that having proper stormwater management ensures that our water quality is improved upon, and you manage that quantity, the amount of stormwater. So within the public infrastructure, which is where David's department concentrates on, it's imperative that we ensure that our new roads and our new infrastructure within the rights of way. My department deals a lot with it on the private sector, so we have to ensure that when you have these events that occur, you ensure that all the types of infrastructure, whether it's on private property or within the public, are working together so we best can manage that. You're not going to manage what we called kind of the biblical kind of events that we had, but we can certainly ensure that they are meeting the intent of what the state and the federal and the local regulations require of us to help ensure we have a properly managed stormwater system.
And all that'll help as we go through. Every little thing helps, and as we ensure certain things take place, then that's all important to the health of the city.
They all kind of work synonymously with one another.
That's right. The scope of the project, we started sometime in early November. We're looking at Kelly Street to be complete. When is that, David?
The contract completion date is April 18th.
Okay.
We look to be finished before that. We're making tremendous progress. The rain slowed us up a little bit on the intersection. We had the 5-way intersection torn up for quite a while, and we really appreciate the local folks that live there working with us in order, I know it was a big inconvenience, but I just wanted to thank them for working with us.
Yeah, we saw a really nice, probably the best way the city and the residents can work together. This project was really nice to see unfold, and I know that it's just really a positive when that kind of thing happens. You've had contact with residents. I know Joe Bodie in your department does a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's all kind of come together, and we're really proud of that. A lot of that's due to your departments working with the community. So thank you for that. Just have to briefly touch on a new project that's coming up. It got delayed, Hutchinson Street. David, just kind of a really brief synopsis of what's going to happen over there, probably sometime in October, right?
That's correct. We're going to put this project out for bid in May, and the idea is to get it constructed during the off season before the end of the year. It's a very similar project to Kelly Street. We'll be widening the roadway from US Highway 98 to Scenic Highway 98 to add bicycle lanes, and we'll be adding a 10-foot pathway, pedestrian pathway, on the east side of the roadway from US Highway 98 to Scenic Highway 98, which we anticipate moving a tremendous amount of pedestrians, non-vehicular driving pedestrians, along this pathway. It is a LAP project through DOT, which is a local agency program. Essentially, DOT will administer federal funds for the project.
Okay.
And we were fortunate enough to get a grant for this project.
That's great. That's great, and that's an important road. Gets a lot of traffic, and to please Ken, we're going to try to get people out of their cars and walking down that road so that we can alleviate some of the congestion. We're looking forward to that happening. We have just a minute left. Something that's important to us right now coming up is a visualization project. Ken, your department's overseeing that. It's a little different from some construction that we were talking about here, but give us a minute's preview of what's happening with the visualization.
Yeah. And this simply ties into some of the things that we do to implement. And what we're doing is the city recently adopted their comprehensive plan, updated to that. But as with any good plan, it needs to be reviewed and continually improved upon. And the City Council, through their effort, and have decided that we're going to work on a scenario and visualization project. And basically, that is taking 4 areas, key areas in our city, Harbor District, Town Center, Crystal Beach, and Holiday Isle, and looking at those different planning areas and seeing how they could potentially be developed in the future, and looking at that visually rather than looking at words in a book, taking those words and looking at them visually, 3D models and technology like that, and then getting public input based on what they see and getting their reaction. Are they positive reactions, negative, and then evolving our policies and regulations based on that consensus of what they want to see our parts of our community evolve into. And then we write those into our comprehensive plan and our land development code, hopefully for implementation. And this is a long-term effort. 10, 15, 20 years down the road is where's the community going. This is just a technique that's been utilized really in very large communities across the nation and the world, and we're able to tap into that. And I'm very pleased that the council has chosen this direction, and there's going to be a significant public input. So, pardon me. So I hope we get a lot of involvement from our public in this, and I think we'll be talking a little bit about this in the future.
Yeah, we're going to actually come back in the near future to talk about this on the show. Give us a time frame of when we can expect to see some of this happen.
Right. Our anticipated time frame is the City Council will choose this firm to take us through this process. I'll be the project manager on it through a lot of support from staff, and we'll be part of a steering committee. But once the council chooses that, hopefully in the mid-March timeframe, chooses that firm, and then we'll be going strong in April and hopefully be finished by the October timeframe. So very aggressive. Yeah, thank you, David. Aggressive timeframe to get this done, but we're confident with the submittals we've received, and
it's exciting.
It's going to be a great project.
Good. It's nice to see that we're progressing progressively. I mean, this is a big deal. We're trying to make our city all it can be, and to visually represent this through digital modeling will be really neat. Yeah. So you guys do a great job kind of seeing us through that. So we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Good information. Always look forward to having this kind of stuff on the show. It's important. People need to see what's going on. If they don't drive these roads every day, if they don't understand what's happening, they can always give us a call at City Hall, 837-4242. You guys are always available. I'm available for anything like that. So, gentlemen, again, thank you for being here. Very good information. And we're going to throw it over to the City of Fort Walton Beach. Want to thank you for watching our segment. See you next time.